Sup y'all, I'm Intricately Random Asian, or Ira for short. Thank you very much for clicking on this random video that you happen to stumble upon on YouTube. If you've been here for a while, welcome to another load of randomness, but with a purpose. So buckle up your seatbelts and enjoy the ride. Today's video has been requested to me. It's called Geography Now Germany, and I'm very interested about Germany because I have started to learn the language like back a year ago. I haven't touched my learning German books for like a year now, and I did keep saying a while back that I would eventually also make learning German episodes. I have yet to continue the learning Russian episodes, but yeah, learning German episodes are certainly on the way in the near future. And to be completely honest, I don't really know much about Germany apart from like, you know, the typical things that non-German people should know. I've been to Germany only once before, and it's in the city called Trier. I'm saying it the French way because that's the only way I know how to say it. It's Trèves in French and Trier, I think. I don't really know. But I went there with my friend Didi in our European vacation in 2019. I have pictures on my Instagram if you want to see. It was really fun. I got to try, you know, schnitzel, and I got to drink German beer and stuff. But I don't really like beer, so I kind of missed out on that. But maybe when I do get the chance to go back to Germany, I'll retry, you know, different kinds of beers, and maybe I'll like that. I know a couple of German words and a few sentences, but I'm not gonna do that here because it'll take up way too much time. It's my first time checking out this channel, Geography Now, actually. So this is kind of like a follow-up to my reaction of The Fallen of World War II. Someone has requested this video in the comment section in that reaction. So yeah, I'm curious to learn more about Germany, whatever this video has to inform us about. Yeah, let's just get right into this. 3, a 2, a 1, let's get it. Okay.
All right. Lederhosen, Schnitzel beer, bratwurst order, bread and beer, complicated history beer, no humor, EDM, and gummy bears that will kind of like give you diarrhea, but it's like worth it. Ugh, those are such horrible stereotypes that every German is so sick and tired of hearing.
Really? Gummy bear?
One gummy bear?
Gummy bear is... Wait. Oh, what the hell is that? Gummy bears are a stereotype in Germany? What? Okay, anyway, the words he was saying, like Lederhosen, Schnitzel, I know some of those words. Oh, what? EDM is German? What? Okay, let me see that again. Hold on.
All right. Lederhosen, Schnitzel beer, bratwurst order, bread and beer, complicated history beer, no humor, EDM, and gummy bears that will kind of like give you diarrhea, but it's like worth it. Ugh,
that is
such horrible.
Okay, I'm sorry for pausing, but that is so true in terms of stereotypes. Like, people keep saying, yeah, German people have no sense of humor. They're like rock hard and like ice cold. They never smile, and they just keep like a straight face. And if you try to make jokes with them, they'll just like judge you with a straighter face. Yeah. So it's kind of funny that he put that in there. Anyway, okay, let's go.
Stereotypes that every German is so sick and tired of hearing. One gummy bear?
Was that guy German?
It's time to learn geography now! Hey everyone, I'm your host Barbie. So, we've conquered Belgium's castle, jumped through Denmark's lagoon, danced through France's forest, and now we've made it to the final boss of the EU, Kingpin Germany. Level 1, begin.
Kingpin Germany?
Ah, you know why I'm smiling. Yep, Germany has a lot of territorial anomalies. We'll get into that in a little bit, but first, Germany is located in central Western Europe, bordered by 9 other countries. Don't forget little Luxembourg.
Yeah!
On the North and Baltic
I love
Seas,
Luxembourg.
which they own about 50 small islands. Now, Germany, like the US, is a federal republic which has 16 smaller states, or Bundesländer, each with its own constitution, 3 of which are cities, the capital Berlin, Hamburg, and Bremen, which is actually kind of like 2 cities, including Bremerhaven on the coast, but they kind of act like one entity. Fun side note, Lower Saxony is actually geographically situated further north than regular Saxony. Now let's jump into the fun stuff. Now, we already discussed the Jungholz Quadrupoint and the Vennbahn railway enclaves with Belgium and Austria. However, there's a few more. The entire town of Bussingen am Hochrhein is surrounded by Switzerland, whereas part of the Konstanz is cut off by the Rhine River and surrounded by Switzerland. However, immediately across the river, a small patch of empty land on the German side actually belongs to Switzerland. Finally, they split the island of Usedom with Poland in the north. Germany is interesting because every state in the country has its own distinct culture, dialect, history, food, traditions. I mean, Bavarians will be quite drastically different from Schleswig-Holsteiners. Mecklenburg-Vorpommern will be different from Saarland. This all has to do with ancient and recent history. Basically, in the quickest way I can summarize this, Germanic tribes, Roman wars, Charlemagne, 3 kingdoms, this guy marries an Italian, creating a whole new mess called the Holy Roman Empire, made up of 300 smaller separate kingdoms, states, and dukedoms, which had nothing to do with Romans. Teutonic Knights, Brandenburgs became Prussia, Habsburgs became Austrians, Lithuanians and Poles made their own thing, whereas the Hungarians joined the Austrians. Wars, battles, Napoleon comes over and messes everything up, and finally, German nationalism surges, and in 1871, Otto von Bismarck creates the first proto-German unified state. And then they're all like, oh dang, we came late to this game, we gotta scramble for some colonies, and that's how all of these countries at one point spoke German. Oh, and also keep in mind, like 300 years before this, a German banking company obtained colonial rights to Venezuela for like 20 years. They were looking for the lost city of El Dorado. So technically, you can kind of say Germans colonized the Americas, but it wasn't like a nationalized conquest thing. Fast forward even more, and then you get World War I, the monarchy ends, Treaty of Versailles, they lose land, Nazis come in, World War II, Germany splits in two for about 40 years, and then finally, we get the Germany we have today. East Germany, consisting of these states, is today...
Okay, well, first of all, I thought I spoke really fast, but our host, Barbie, is speaking like 10 times faster than me, so I may have to rewatch this video like outside of filming, because the history part is kind of like, it went by really fast, but it was simplified, so I kind of understood what was going on. But man, dude, you slow down a little bit. I'm like slow, okay? I'm slow in history. I need time to understand this stuff, okay? Anyway, moving on.
Different from the rest of Germany, as it was first occupied and influenced by the Soviet Union. They are generally not as well off economically as the rest of the country, as you can still see the blocky Soviets.
Wow. It looks like, you know the game Battleship? What? It looks like that. Like, it's all unified blocks. I mean, at least there's nature. I mean, at least there's trees. It's better than Montreal. There's barely trees here. But the buildings, though, my goodness. Wow, okay.
Style buildings sprawled throughout the regions. In fact, the city of Berlin was split in half, and the west side was actually an enclave of West Germany, only accessible by train and highway. You can even see from a satellite image the divide. East Berlin still uses the yellowish tinted sulfur vapor light bulbs, whereas the west still uses fluorescent and mercury arc white tinted light bulbs. Now the funny thing is, although Berlin is the largest city in Germany, the busiest airports are actually Frankfurt, Munich, Dusseldorf, with Berlin Tegel ranking at number 4. Otherwise, some top notable landmarks and spots would be the Brandenburg Gate, the Valhalla, Cologne Cathedral, the Westminster Church, the tallest in the world, the Berlin Victory Column, and hundreds of castles all over. The most notable would probably be Neuschwanstein, the concept behind Disney's Cinderella Castle. Germany also has over 400 zoos, more than any other country in the world. And of course, everybody knows about the Autobahn, the highway system in which if you see this sign, it means there's no speed limit. And it's like that for a huge portion of the roadway. And no wonder, considering how vast and wide those cultivated countrysides can get. Time for level 2.
Okay, like, so speaking about, like, the castles and stuff, one of the reasons why I really want to visit Germany is because of, like, the landmarks, and also because I want to try more food, and hopefully learn more German. Anyway, I wanted to talk about, like, my experience with driving in Germany with Didi. He was actually the one driving, and I was just taking Instagram videos for vlogging, and we were on the highway, and we're going really fast. I look at the speed meter at some point, and then I was like, wait, are we really running at like 180 kilometers per hour? And then Didi was like, yeah, totally normal. I was like, dang, I feel like I'm in a roller coaster, let's go. Literally though, it was really fun. Level 2, let's go.
Okay, think of it this way. In Germany, the more down you go, the more up you move. Basically, Germany lies on the Atlantic shelf in the north that starts with the mudflats in the North Sea. Seriously, this island right here is accessible only for a few hours by foot until the tide comes and floods everything. Then everything just kind of creeps up into the Alps in the south by Bavaria and
yeah, because of the
highest
Swiss
mountain,
Alps. Okay,
Spitze, located right along the border with Austria. Kind of like France, Germany is filled with a vast irrigating network of rivers like the Spree, Elbe, Weser, Rhine, and of course, the mighty Danube that starts here. About a third of the land is arable and another third is woodland, and after a millennia of civilization, Germans have cultivated the crap out of their country. Most agriculture, of course, happens in the North Flat Plains and the central regions of the country, which is, by the way, kind of like Europe's Tornado Alley. Due to its position sandwiched between the Arctic blasts of Scandinavia and the moist, warm jet streams of the Mediterranean below, Germany can be an atmospheric war zone in the summer. There are more tornadoes on average in Germany than any other country in Europe. Speaking of flat farmland, Germany is the world's largest rye and hop producer. Germans abso-freaking freaking lootly love their bread. There are
Wow.
over 300 different kinds of bread in the country, more types than any other country in the world, and almost every meal incorporates some kind of slice or small bun or brötchen of bread.
Brötchen, yeah.
Gluten-free? Nein! Germans are heavy meat eaters.
Okay, speaking of bread, I have a huge problem with bread. First of all, like, I only eat like original bagels. I can't do seeds. Like bread with seeds, I can't. I have to eat them original. And whenever I go to a restaurant and like they serve bread, I'm so weird because I cut the bread open, I like spread it wide open,
Bruh.
and then I put butter, and then I peel off the squishy part of the bread, you know, the insides, and I just eat that. And then I leave out the crust. I don't know. Someone help me, please. So do you think that if I eat bread like that in Germany, they'll like ban me from the country? Please don't. You have a beautiful country. I want to see all of it, okay?
Specifically in pork. They basically know every possible way to cook a pig. Over 50 different types of sausage exist alongside schnitzels, rouladen, sauerbraten, Schweinshaxe,
You said it in a
and
funny
a big
way.
party you might find Spanferkel. Beer reigns supreme
Oh, wow.
all over as the
Gosh.
third largest consumers of beer
Oktoberfest.
after the Czech Republic. Even their president has no problem with public intoxication. And Austria. Germany is world renowned for their beer, which
So
by
funny.
the way follows the Reinheitsgebot rule in which they are only allowed to
Wow.
use water, hops, malt, and sometimes yeast. Nonetheless, about 1,300 breweries exist, pumping out over 5,000 brands. The oldest
Wow.
continuously existing brewery in the world, started by Benedictine monks in 1040 AD.
My goodness,
found
monks.
Here. Germany takes the environment very seriously, and for the past 2 decades has been going on a major green revolution. As of today, they have the largest installed
Cool.
solar power capacity, and green infrastructure practices like home installed turbines and solar panels have seen a huge surgence in the past 10 years. Forests dominate the southern regions,
Oh, wow.
where the landscape gets hillier and mountainous. The most
Oh,
famous
that's
one being
beautiful.
the Black Forest or the Schwarzwald in Baden-Württemberg. Deer, bears, boar, foxes, badgers, and the national animal, the eagle, can be found thriving in these parts.
Their
Nonetheless,
national
economically,
animal
Germany
is the
no-
eagle too. Wow, that's awesome. Fun. I love nature. I'm gonna definitely go visit those forests, yeah.
Badgers and the national animal, the eagle, can be found thriving in these parts. Nonetheless, economically, Germany is known mostly for their exceptional engineering and industry production.
Cars.
Companies we've all heard of like Volkswagen, BMW,
Yep.
Mercedes-Benz, Porsche, Audi, Telekom, Nivea.
Porsche is German? No. I always thought it was Italian. Oh my goodness, you guys. My dream sports car is a yellow Porsche, like a GT4 900. I don't know the brand name, the exact name of the thing, but I want a yellow Porsche in the future, which kind of means that I also need to learn how to drive manual. Shoot. But wait, Porsche is German? What? I did not know that. I always thought it was Italian. Oh, goodness gracious. Okay. But I mean, at least the other brands of cars, I knew they were German. Okay, at least. Gosh, I'm so uncultured. The heck?
DHL, Bosch, Adidas, Puma, Adidas, Puma! Yeah, it's kind of like the whole Biscoito Bolacha thing from Brazil. Remember? Well, we have mudflats, tornadoes, pork, beer,
No
mountains,
ads,
all that's missing
no.
is people. Level 3.
Oh, okay, I thought it was
Fun little
a
side
part
note,
of the
in
ad.
Germany,
Oh my
this
gosh.
is 3, not this. Now, if the EU was a family, Germany would kind of be like the dad who got out of rehab, reconciled with his wife and kids, and is taking his new life very seriously as he is haunted by the demons of his past.
Lol.
every day. First of all, the
Okay.
country has about 82 million people and is the most populated in the EU, second most in Europe after Russia, and has the 4th largest
Wow.
nominal GDP in the world. About 80% of the country identifies as ethnically German, 12% other Europeans, mostly Polish, Italian, Dutch, and so on. Turks make up about 3.5%, Asians at 2%, and the rest are made up of other groups like Africans and Americans. Also, they use
Wow.
the euro, they use the C and F type outlets, and they drive on the right side of the road. Germany is without a doubt a
good.
global powerhouse. It is the strongest economy in the EU and makes up about 16% of the union's population. It's the 3rd largest exporter and importer of goods in the world. After the United States,
Wow.
Germany is also the 2nd most popular global migration destination. Germany experiences a high standard of living to
Apparently so, yeah. Apparently a lot of people want to move to Germany. I know a lot of my classmates from university, they wanted to study in Germany or move to Germany to teach English, but yo, apparently like living there is hella expensive. I mean, here it's already expensive. Over there it's like double, you know?
tuition-free universities, if you get accepted that is, a mostly government-subsidized universal healthcare system, about a quarter is still privatized, and state pension for retirement at age 65. Now when it comes to language, things get a little tricky. Each state kind of has their own type of German. However, to get by, most Germans learn how to speak Hochdeutsch, or High German, which is the standard dialect. The European Charter, however, protects the minority languages of Frisian, Danish, Romani, Sorbian,
which is
like
Frisian?
a Slavic-based language used along the Czech-Polish border, and Plattdeutsch, or Low German, which has similarities to Dutch and is typically used by the Amish and
Low
Mennonite
German,
communities
that's so
across
funny.
the world. In terms of regional distinctions, though, Germany is kind of divided into 5 cultural areas: Rhineland, East and Middle Deutschland, Norddeutschland, Baden-Württemberg, and
Bavaria.
Rhineland is on the west side and has a culture somewhat more influenced by France, more Catholics. Carnival celebrations are huge out here. East and Middle Germany was the part that used to be its own country for 40 years, as it was influenced by the Soviets. Sorbians can also be found here too. Northern Germany has a coastal sea culture that identifies closer with Denmark and the Netherlands. They're also known for being kind of quiet and reserved. Baden-Württemberg has an interesting Swabian culture where they speak a dialect so thick that only about 40% of it is intelligible to other Germans.
Oh my gosh,
and then you have Bavaria, which is where the Americanized, perpetuated stereotypes about Germany came from, with lederhosen, dirndls, half-timber, beer houses, and cuckoo clocks. For the record, Germans are sick of those stereotypes. It's like saying
cuckoo clocks are from
cowboys with guns and horses. Speaking of stereotypes, some of the stereotypes in Germany include things like Saxons being very indecisive, Berliners are always bragging about themselves, Swabians are stingy, Bavarians drink too much, Hessians talk too much, Holsteiners don't talk enough, and so on. Words differ from regions too. For example, in High German, you would say Auf Wiedersehen, but in Bavarian, you would say Fiat die Gott. In Kölsch, you would say Tschüss, and in Rhineland, you might say Ayus. And there's so many compound words that get really long and complicated, like Rindfleisch, Ticketerungsüberwachungsaufgaben, Übertragungsgesetz. It's because many words are mehrdeutig, or ambiguous words.
That was one whole word, right? I know that like when I was learning German, man, words can be this long, literally. Like, what the heck? Wait, let's see what that word was. Let's go back a little bit.
Long and complicated, like Rindfleisch, Ticketerungsüberwachungsaufgaben, Übertragungsgesetz.
What does that mean? Someone help me.
It's because many words are mehrdeutig, or ambiguous words, that are kind of elongated to give off an extensive meaning. Germans have very vivid imaginations and make up words for everything. Like my favorite word, Backpfeifengesicht. Not this time. By the way, for the record, this letter makes a double S sound. However, spelling reformers have tried to decrease the usage of this letter in recent years, which has led to some protests. Germans also love dubbing everything from foreign media into German. Some like this, some don't, but either way, it's here to stay. About 60% of the country identifies, at least nominally, as Christians, split between Protestants and Catholics. Germany was even the birthplace of the Protestant Reformation, split from the Catholic Church by Martin Luther. Otherwise, the rest are mostly agnostic or irreligious, with a noticeable community of Muslims, mostly from the huge Turkish and Middle Eastern communities, at about 5%, as well as a few Jews, Buddhists, and Hindus rounding up the remainder 1%. To kind of get a feel of what it's like to be German, you kind of have to understand where they've come from. After World War II, they kind of had a lot of work to do. However, it wasn't until the mid-50s and early 60s that Wirtschaftswunder, or economic wonder, happened, to which almost everybody got to work. Basically, this guy envisioned and implemented a social market economy combined with free market capitalism alongside socialist policies that established fair competition in a welfare state. GDP increased by 80%, investments by 120%, labor forces were utilized to the maximum, things started to get better. In Germany, all children are corralled into general public schools until age 10, when they are given the option to enroll in 3 different types of middle schools. Gymnasium, geared towards focusing on higher linguistic, mathematic, and science fields for universities. Realschule, a middle ground type of school, and Hauptschule, a school that is geared towards helping kids that seem to show promise in specific vocation or trades. Germany also has the largest music market in the EU and the third.
I don't get why they don't do this here in America. My goodness, everyone's just like clamped into the same schools and we just end up in a rat race. We're miserable, you guys. Help us. Help our education system.
In the world after the US and Japan. They love preserving their heritage and culture through music and art. In fact, there are around 130 national orchestras, mostly supported by public money, and artists get a 50% reduction in health insurance through a special type of offer in the legal system. One thing that still kind of supposedly maintains itself in Germany is the mindset of Vergangenheitsbewältigung. Totally butchered that, which kind of translates to a lingering sense of guilt from the past. Germans have reportedly some of the lowest levels of national pride, and unless if you're at a soccer game, chances are you will almost never see anyone holding a German flag or waving it in any kind of like patriotic setting.
Okay. You know how like people say in schools, well, teachers mostly, they say like, there's no such thing as a stupid question. Go ahead, ask it. Well, this one I can assure you is A stupid question. Okay, so I was in Sec 3, was the same class as the class I was talking about in my other reaction video of the World War II, the Fallen. So there was this dude in my class, not gonna name him if ever he watches this video, okay? He asked, yeah, so teacher, like, if you go to Germany and you do the Heil Hitler thing, you know, the salute thing that I'm not gonna do because I don't wanna, you know. So if we do that in Germany, miss, like, are we gonna get shot? And then the teacher looked at him literally like, bruh. You did not just ask that? Really? And the whole class was like, whoa, what the heck? The teacher eventually said like, they probably will not shoot you, but they certainly won't be really happy with you. They'll probably give you a fine or like throw you in prison. Oh my gosh, that was such a dumb question. Oh, I still remember like it was yesterday. Oh. She also said that like after World War II, you know, Germans were pretty ashamed of what happened and everything, so they wanted to work really hard to, like, I guess redeem themselves after all of that. So yeah, I mean, I get it, but you know.
It's kind of how things are. You monster! They've made great strides to move on from the past. Nazi flags and Mein Kampf are incredibly illegal items to own in Germany.
Okay, there you go.
Volksverhetzung, which basically says you cannot talk trash by denying the past atrocities. Some people say this infringes on free speech, others say it's good because it solidifies truth. Otherwise, some notable Germans throughout history include Charlemagne, although he was a Frank, but I guess it kind of counts. Albrecht, Dürer, David Friedrich, Gutenberg, Bach, Beethoven, Karl Benz, Albert Einstein, although Americans would like to claim that he moved to the US and became an American. Johannes Kepler.
Of course, the Americans always want to appropriate everything,
Alex
you know.
von Humboldt, and of course Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels co-founded Marxism. But one thing Germans do best would have to be...
It's good because I actually recognize a lot of these names, so I guess I'm not that uncultured. Still.
Diplomacy. To this day, the German passport holds the most visa-free nations out of any other country in the world.
Yeah, apparently so.
Therefore, you can kind of conclude that Germany kind of knows how to relate to people. Let's find out how in the final round, level 4.
Oh, after the ad, of
Want to
course.
start an online store quickly?
I do not want to start an online store.
Head over to wix.com.
Yep. Friend zone.
Germany knows how to make friends. They have over 220 diplomatic missions abroad and over 350 honorary consuls and have an incredibly high position of authority in the EU. Their closest African friend would probably be Namibia. As a former German colony way back in the 19th century, Namibia held on relations, and to this day, German is still a recognized language in Namibia. Germans have been supporting and sharing ties both economically and ideologically for over a century. India and South Korea are really close friends in Asia. India supported both East and West Germany during the Cold War, and after reunification, they were like, woohoo! Even better! And Germany is to South Korea what Japan is to France. They love to piggyback off of each other's ideas and cultures, especially in the automotive industry. Many South Koreans were sent to Germany after the Korean War to work abroad and study, and Germans have been growing in fascination with visiting South Korea. The US is probably the closest ally outside of the EU. About 30% of Americans claim German heritage, and after World War II, the Marshall Plan allowed the US to give post-war aid to Germany, which helped kickstart the economic recovery. Germany was a key figure in the formation of the State of Israel after World War II, which after the Holocaust left an obligation to invest in the building up of a Jewish community. Turkey is probably the closest Middle Eastern ally, as the Turks make up the largest Asian demographic in Germany, although many of them may or may not also identify as Kurds. But since Kurds don't have a state of their own, they usually go under Turkish passports when immigrating and are documented as such. Their best friends, however, will probably be literally all their neighbors. The thing is, Germany is kind of like Bosnia and Herzegovina, in which by default, they kind of get friends based off of the regional alliances. Bavarians get along with Austrians, Baden-Württembergs get along with Switzerland, East Germany has good relations with the Slavic countries, the Rhine states love Belgium, Luxembourg, and France, and the north side loves the Netherlands and Denmark. France, though, is kind of like the trophy wife of Germany, as the two have had an angry start, but then eventually fell in love and worked together beautifully. France is like the beautiful, flashy spokesperson for the EU that stands in the spotlight as Germany stands in the background, managing all the money and logistical work. In conclusion, although
I love the animation.
have existed for thousands of years, an actual unified German state didn't appear until kind of recently, and the brief time that they've been around, they've kind of gone through some of the most intense, world-revolutionizing historical events possibly imagined. Yet, they've come out working hard and building their way up to become a world superpower. You gotta give it to them. There's something about the Germans.
Props.
And with that, final boss level complete. Stay tuned. Another African state Germany has ties to, Ghana, is coming up next.
Nice. Wow. Really informative. I like it. Okay, can I skip this part? Wow. Very interesting. I actually really liked it. If only history classes in high school and elementary school were this interesting, I would have loved history. Well, I mean, I did like history, but if it were like presented this way, it would have been much cooler and more enjoyable. But yeah, that was really informative. I learned a lot of things that I had no idea about Germany, especially about like the geography and the like landmark history and stuff. To be completely honest, I thought that Germany was not really loved, or, you know, I thought they weren't really liked by their neighboring countries, but apparently that's the opposite, which is great. I mentioned this in my previous Learning German episode. When I did go to Europe with Didi, German was actually one of the most spoken languages in all the 4 or 5 countries that we visited, and I was like, wow, English is not even like 3rd place, you know? So yeah, that's pretty nice. You guys, I really just cannot wait to get out of Canada. Freaking heck, you know? I just wanna go travel, please. Take me anywhere. Anywhere. But somewhere in Canada, honestly. Germany would be fun. Before all of the COVID thing happened, I was going to move to Prague, and I was gonna meet up with a friend in Munich for Oktoberfest. So that would have been the 2nd time I go to Germany, but stuff happened. Okay, so that didn't happen, but in the future though, in the future, you'll probably see me in Germany. And Learning German episodes coming up sometime in the future. So look forward to that, because I certainly am looking forward to learning a little more German. Alright guys, thank you very much for watching. I hope you liked it. Don't forget to comment, like, share, subscribe if you want to. And as usual, get out there and be random, because randomness is a lifestyle. So get on board with me and let's embrace it. I'll see y'all in my next video. Bye!